Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Bakwuds Skateboards in the Workshop edition. So today, what we're going to be working on is this bad boy right here. Last episode, we were working on this thing. We're figuring out how we're going to do this. I've made one of these before. It's been a little while. I like to call this the racer shape, as the description says. And it's a different kind of shape. It's kind of hard to see here. I think it's an interesting shape. Let me get the camera right there. There we go. I think it's a pretty interesting shape. It's going to be wide on the outside by the trucks and then skinny in the middle. So something different, something special, something somewhat maybe unique. I don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on finishing up making sure our numbers are correct here, because you never know sometimes. Maybe my numbers might not be right. And this happens, you know. You get the shaping it, drawing it out, and it doesn't quite work out to what you think it's going to be. So let's go over what we had on this last time, and maybe we can figure out where we're going with. So it looks like at our widest point, we are 9.5. 9.5 at the widest, and 9.5 at the widest there too. Now, this is on a mellow shape. You turn it right there. Mellow shape, so this has a easy concave. It's nothing too crazy, as you can see here. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. This is a steep. I just remembered that we started shaping a steep because I don't really shape steeps very often. So let me correct myself and say that this board actually has a good bit of concave. As you can see, I can slide my hand under this ruler pretty well, so that tells me that it's going to be quite a steep concave deck, which is not a problem. Some people like them, some people don't. This one has a distinct nose, a distinct tail. They're a little bit different. The nose is just a little steeper than what the tail would be on, say, a twin deck. So if you got a twin, these are going to be identical steepness, identical angles, preferably. So now that we have that, let's see what our wheelbase was. We had a 14.75 wheelbase, so that's going to be a nice big cruiser kind of style. It's actually just a 16th less than 14 3/4. So that's not a problem. Just something different, something to think about while we're doing this. So I think we're ready to cut. We double check our nose and tail here. Now, looking at this, this is our nose. I like to usually put the nose up here. I'll throw a little mark on it just so I know where the nose is, in case I get confused while I'm working on it. So we got 7" on the tail, and right now, actually 1/16 less than 7.5 inches on the nose. So that's going to be kind of big. Not a problem, not necessarily a problem. Let's see our overall length. We are looking at 32 and probably a half, honestly. Yeah, if I'm being honest, it's going to be about 32 and a half. So at this point, I think we're about ready to start cutting this thing. And like I said in previous episodes, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, or how I'm doing it, please let me know. You'll have to excuse me. I've been busy today, really busy Sunday for me today. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to cut this up and see what we can make of it. So I don't know how much of this specific curvy shape we're going to end up keeping once we take it over to the sander and start having our way with it on that thing. Sometimes you end up with something a little mellower, like this one has really wild shape on it. Sometimes you end up losing that if you take it over to the bag sander. So something like that, I typically tend to hand sand, as it makes the process just a little smoother and a little easier, and I don't mess anything up by doing it by hand. because that thing over there, that bag sander, will mess up your project really fast if you let it. And that is the truth. So I don't want that to happen to these here skateboards. Okay, so as I do every skateboard, I cut it with a jigsaw. Why not a bandsaw? Well, I don't have one. And I don't have the space currently for one. Probably will once I move over to the new shop. But for now, jigsaw has always done me great. So. Okay, so I'm going to move this camera over just a little so we can have just a bit of a different kind of view here. Let's see if I can force this thing down. There we go. All right, so I'll try to keep this up as we're going. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to keep it cutting. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, so you'll probably notice that, oh, if I can turn that back up, I'm not being very precise. I'm not trying to be super precise with these cuts here. I'll sand it up and get it tighter once I get going a little bit further. But for now, I want to stay outside the line as close as I can without making any jagged, sudden movements that could jeopardize the shape. But let me pop it off of here. We're about to rotate it around so I can do the other side, but you can get an idea of what we're looking at here and where we're headed with this thing. So we're going to flip it around, knock off some of that dust. What am I doing? There we go. Okay, got to get my head together. Like I said, I've been busy. Been doing some roofing today. This time change got me all messed up. I don't know about you guys. Every year always gets me. But I guess that's just the way it is. Okay, so now we're going to go with that top-down angle. I thought that was kind of a good angle right there to really get a good depiction of what is happening. So, again, any questions, comments, or concerns about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, or how I'm doing it, please let me know. And otherwise, I do appreciate you guys being here. Okay, here we go. Getting a little away from it there. Oh, there we go. Too far. Okay. Almost yanked out that cable there. Give me a second here. Okay. We're okay. We're good. We're good. Okay, we're good. So, like many small businesses, I'm running a one-man circus over here. So I do apologize about the weird angles, cuts, and drops in the camera and things like that. You know, it just happens with this kind of thing. So this is what we have here. We're going to keep it going with our progress, if you want to call it that. So more skateboard trash. I have so many of those, I don't even know what to do with them anymore. Just pallets of them, just entire pallets, like waist high. But the funny thing is, they're not like the color veneers. I don't get those too often because they're a little more expensive. So they're just not as sought after for like projects and things. All right, now we are ready to clean this thing up. It is obviously very jagged from what we just did. Now you can see the shape though is more or less what we were looking for. If I can get the angle right about there. There we go. Maybe I can do that and a little bit of that action. And then we can see the shape is a little better. That's going to be the back side there. So like I said, this is a steep concave. So you can see it's kind of got a little bit of concave to it. It's going to skate pretty wild, I think. It's definitely going to skate wild. So anyways, let's slide this camera over here. We're going to begin sanding on our bag or our flat sander. Even though it's not a flat deck, it has got some curve to it, as you can see. We're going to make do and see if we can make it work on this particular sander, even though it's not quite the right shape. So, I got to turn this bad boy on. Just give me a second here. Okay. We're ready to mess it up. So you'll see, I'm just taking off a little bit here, just a little bit. You'll notice I really got to keep this thing moving or else I'm going to put a big old gash in it. So it's very difficult, very difficult. All right. That's pretty good. I think we got that pretty good. So I'm going to do the nose and the tail now. But we got these pretty well tightened up for now, anyways. All right. Sorry about that. I had a bit of a trouble spot I had to get there. I had to really focus on it. So our nose is starting to come together. It's really starting to look pretty good. There we go. I have a hard time finding the center here. Let me turn I got an old computer monitor I use as my screen. So, you know, I just got to do what I got to do. All right. So that works pretty well. Now we're going to do this side. You can see this one's a little flatter. That's on purpose. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I think we got something good here. Let me zoom back out here. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, or how I'm doing it, please let me know. I would love to input, and you know, I can answer a question, and it makes me feel good. So, like I said, we got our shape pretty well straightened out here. I think I like it. I think I'm going to stick with it. I mean, obviously, I have some refining I have to do, but it's nothing too major, honestly. Yeah, it's not bad. That's not bad. All right, I'm going to cut that off. That thing's really loud, so I apologize. So my first time I ever tried to use the edge of that thing, obviously it's not meant for that. You're meant to do this kind of thing, but I'll show you once this thing stops and I can talk to you in a normal voice and not have to yell. Okay, now it's about done. So this thing, I couldn't put it on here because that would come. As you can see, let me zoom in a little bit, obviously. But this is more or less for those who aren't familiar with this particular shape I'm doing. You don't see it too often. You know, it's got a wide in the back, front, kind of skinny in the middle. So anyways, it's not going to work if I try to do it on here. So I just kind of be real nitpicky about it and try to do it like this. First time I ever did that, totally jacked up the skateboard. I just put all kinds of divots in it. I had to just turn that into a popsicle shape because I messed it up too much. So anyways, fun facts about me. But anyways, we're going to move on to our bag sander, which is right here. And again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. Be happy to answer them. But for now, we're going to step over here. I'm going to slide you right here. There we go. And I'm actually going to bring you guys down just a little bit to my level. There we go. Something like that. I want you guys to be able to get a nice up-close view of the action. So as I usually say, I put 125 usually on this thing. The first time I used it, I did 220. Not good enough. This 120, honestly, is starting to wear down to where I'm going to have to replace it soon. So anyways, let's get started on the bag. No, wait a minute. I got to move my nice little box table out the way here. Okay, now we're ready. It's really a lot of power draw in this thing. Okay, let's get going on the sanding. Now, I apologize, the camera's probably vibrating really fast. You can see on the edge, just kind of doing that kind of thing. I always like to step back when I'm inspecting my work, so if it slips out of my hand, it's not going to fall on the sander, which would really suck. Luckily, this thing is a little quieter, so you can probably hear me pretty well, but it spins at such a high rate of speed, it'll make a projectile out of whatever falls on it. Honestly, if I was being honest with myself, I shouldn't be wearing the hoodie I am wearing with the strings on it. This is a bad problem, but you know, that's what I had, what I was wearing, and I'm just going to be extra careful, and I think that'll help alleviate any concerns that I have about this. Okay, so I'm just trying to clean up some of these edges before I move on to the nose and to the tail. But you saw it happen in a matter of minutes, probably 3 minutes. I think I got through that edge. This particular shape really works well to my advantage to be able to get into that curve with that bag. So that's a bonus of this particular shape. Okay. All right, so we got our edge pretty good. This part right here, we got that good. I know the camera's all shaky and wobbly and shit. I apologize. So we're gonna get the nose and the tail now. As you can see, it's still flat. That thing is vibrating so much. Watch this. I pick it up, my hands, there we go. I just gotta keep it on the ground though. Okay, here we go. This is definitely a two-hand machine if you get to operate in one of these bad boys. This is not something to play around with, this thing. This could seriously mess somebody up. And I am not keen on finding out how badly. I got my knuckles one time, that was pretty awesome. You know, scraping your knuckles on something going this fast. Ooh, it hurt. It hurt. I'm sure the scene right now looks pretty whack, right? Like, it's a jiggly ass shot because that thing is spinning at such a high rate of speed. But honestly, this is the best tool for this particular job. I used to do this by hand, if you could believe that, which it's pretty crazy of me, honestly. So, now I'm going to show you this real quick. Once this thing stops making the camera all jiggly, I apologize about all the jiggly. And the dust. I'm sure it's a little harder to see me now. So in particular, this bag is pretty wide bag. I think 8 to 10 inches. So getting this arc right here, damn near impossible on that bag. I'll show you real quick. Once this thing slows down, right there. So, as you can see, if I hold it at a very specific angle, I could probably get it, but it's not going to look right. So if I turn it that way, so I could also do it this way, but I have to be at that certain kind of angle to get it. So from here, we're going to have to do it by hand. That's just what we have to do, which is not a problem. Not a problem whatsoever. I enjoy doing these by hand, as I always say. It gives me the opportunity to see these things up close. Okay, and make sure that I don't mess them up. Now, here we go. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, or how I'm doing it, please let me know in the comments section. Down there, somewhere right about here. Yep. Otherwise, I do appreciate you guys joining me for this episode of Bakwuds Live, where we are shaping up the racer. Right there. Right there. That's it. So you can see, little in the middle, but she got a big back. So this one's going to be pretty fun. I think it's going to be a pretty sweet little ride. It is 9.5 inch at the widest point. I think it was 8.5 here, 8.75, something like that. 14.75 on the wheelbase. And I keep getting the angle all messed up. The entire length, I think currently we're sitting at 32 and or something. 32 3/4. So that's actually pretty big, bigger than I thought it was going to be. But I think once we finish hand sanding this, we'll probably end up taking a 1/16 or so off of it. It won't be much though. Also I want to mention this is on a steep concave. I can get this thing set up right. There we go. Maybe right about there. That's a good one. You can kind of see how much steepness this thing has if I hold it at the right kind of angle. And if you know the secret angle that I'm missing here, please let me know. You'd think I would know this by now, how many of these I do. There, it's a little better there. You can see the concave. You see that shape really nicely. There's the other side right there. There we go. So that's pretty good. You can see it like that. Anyways, we're going to start sanding this thing by hand with our palm sander. Now what we're after here is we're trying to tighten up everything we just did on the big bag sander. This is the same grit as the bag sander is, so it's not going to be a big shock to the grain, to the wood grain. There we go. It's hard to get that angle just right because I want to be able to. There you go. There we go. I want you guys to be able to see everything, but then see my ugly face. There you go. You want to be able to see my ugly face, just in case, you know, might have a question or something. I want to be able to answer it. So here we go. Well, it seems we've had a bit of a situation. So this doesn't happen very often, but I want to show you guys that this does happen sometimes. And at this point, you know, sometimes you have to call a deck just the death, you know, like this is, it's hard to see. There we go, right there. You see that? I had a blowout once I hit it with the sander. So this is a problem. That's a big problem. So I can't sand past that. If I did, it'd probably look a little funky, you know what I mean? So that is just, if I can get the picture right, there we go. That's just what you get with skateboarding sometimes and making these. My camera is just not wanting to focus everything else but the deck. Anyways, so I'm going to try to sand past it. We're going to see if we can make it work. But at this point, it's kind of a bummer, right? Loosen this up. It's kind of a bummer, a little bit. I don't know what happened. It's not a gluing situation. It is before. No, I think it's a. I don't know. I think it might be the jigsaw. I think I need a new blade on that thing. Anyways, let's see what we can do for it. See if we can salvage this bad boy. So I do apologize that we've had a technicality. There we go. That's better. You don't have to see me so much. But we're going to try to make it past it. Now, I was just thinking about something here. Pretty wild angle. Our nose length. We might be able to scratch a little bit off of that because this is the nose after all. You know, we could probably take some of the length off that nose and not be too dramatically weird on our overall because, like I said, we're actually longer than I intended it to be currently. So with our tail being 7 inches, currently our nose, which is our problem child, as is we all know. So currently we're looking at like 7 3/8. I'm thinking I could probably pinch off like, shit, I could probably do like less than 1/8 of an inch and I could probably make this work. I'm thinking I should give it a go. What do you guys think? Yeah? I don't see any reason why not. So what I can do here is, do I want to take it to the bag? I think we're going to take it to the bag over here. So let's slide back over to the bag. I'll zoom in so you guys can see. There we go. And now what I'm going to try to do, I hope you guys can still hear me pretty well, is I'm going to try to pinch off just about 1/8 of an inch off of this length here because you can see I got it sanded pretty good, actually. I'm actually kind of impressed with how much it sanded out. But the veneer like has an indentation in it now. And I want to try to alleviate that. Damn, I can't get these angles right. Anyways, so we're just going to try to take care of it on this thing real quick. Now, I think it's not going to take much to get past that little problem area. As long as I pay attention to the shape I have overall, I won't suffer any consequences over the shape and the difference. See, like right now, I want to make sure I don't have that big old wide spot right there. Here we go. Because I am changing the shape, it's very difficult to shape it on the bag. Really, you want something like that over here with the straight edge, and that'll give you the best possibility of having a perfectly square-ish nose and tail, if that makes sense. So, let me try to get that. So I'm going to have to block the camera a second. That particular angle just really works for me when I'm doing the noses, because this is a special use situation. I'm doing something a little funky here to kind of reshape this bad boy. But like I said, I got to be careful and I don't shape it too off, or else we're going to have a problem. Okay, so I think we got it pretty good. So this is what we ended up with. We pretty much got almost all the way to the end of that little problem child area. So a little bit of hand sanding with this station right over here. Let me zoom back out. So stepping back over here, we hit it with this just a little bit more. I think we're going to be golden. Yeah, we got it. Sorry, there's a lot of dust flying everywhere. It gets all up in my face, my eyes, and everything. It's a little cold, so I'm not opening up the fan just yet. I probably will here in a little bit. Anyways, we're able to get past that little problem child area pretty nicely. So now that we're able to do that, I can safely move on to the rest of this and get this thing looking nice. So I'm going to flip it over because we already did that other side. And if I have to hit it again, well, that's just the way it is. Now, as I said, I have 120 on here. I'm trying to not necessarily change the shape overall. I just want to refine what I've already done and get rid of these striation marks from that sander. All right, you'll notice I get kind of in a little sanding, and I'm just so focused on, and I forget to talk, and I apologize. It's kind of hard to hear me over that sander in particular, but you know, I apologize for the radio silence. I do got to touch this side up just a little bit. I did not quite get it perfect before we found our little problem, so now's my chance. All right, it's looking pretty good. We got a pretty nice, looking pretty nice here. So our next step, what is our next step? I don't know, do you know? I thought you guys knew. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, our next step, we got to clean this thing up. This thing is dirty as hell. Gets pretty messy just for right there. Down here, it's all just filthy. Mostly glue. Sometimes just things floating around the warehouse here. But anyway, same kind of thing. I'm hitting it with this. Now this thing started out with a 220 smoothness on it already. So I'm not trying to hit this whole thing. I'm just trying to get rid of all these little fuck-ups I left. So pardon my French. Alright, so as I was sitting here sanding, hold on. Okay. As I was sitting here sanding, I was remembering last episode, and I was kind of referencing this thing as like a peanut shape. And it kind of doesn't look like a peanut anymore. Hold on, I'm going to get some of this dust off the lens. There, no, a little smoother. I thought it looked like a peanut before. Not so much now. It's definitely got a racer shape to it. I don't know if that's an actual thing. I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe I just made it up. But it's still interesting, right? Like skinny in the middle, wide at the tails. So it could be something interesting. Like I'm thinking like maybe a lip slide. Could be pretty funky, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe. I think I might end up skating this myself. Who knows? All right, so we're going to flip it over. Do I have to hit it with 120? I'm going to do a little grazing around the edges. This is just to make sure I'm good. So as I've said before, and it's actually a good tip just to know overall, is that with the 120, I'm not trying to change or alter the shape. I'm just working on refining the shape I already have. Now, that's not to say that I could totally redo this shape. I could put big old grooves in it and do whatever I wanted with 120 if I'm not careful, if I don't pay attention. And you could also use, wherever it is, this 60 grit, 40 grit in this instance. This stuff, I don't use it very often because this stuff will chew through it. And that's just a little bonus lesson for those who didn't know. This stuff's super, super gritty. You can see it right there. So this will chew through this deck in no time. So I don't use that too often. I use that for some other projects that I work on. That is not necessarily skateboard related, but other woodworking projects. So we've got our 120 down on that side. Now we're ready to switch to 220. So I don't go too crazy on like I said, hitting this with the 120, I just want to fix the shape I already have. I don't want to change it. I don't want to add new grooves unless I did like over there a second ago on the bag. But anyways, I'm rambling on about nonsense. We're going to keep going. I have 220. We're going to try to get this thing nice and smooth. And we're looking for a good paint-ready consistency throughout the entire thing. Obviously, because it's going to get a graphic once this process is done. Okay, so here we go. Any, also, particle mask, you're telling me, dude, I left it inside like an idiot. I've done this to myself like 2 or 3 times, and I do appreciate you your concern about my breathing. I totally agree. Like an idiot, left it inside. So I'm stuck in here with some dust, and I do, you know, I'm telling it. I'm just, you're right. You're right. Alright, so it doesn't take very long with the 220. Just bought your first push complete yesterday. Digging the vibes. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Don't have health insurance. Yeah, I'm telling you, health insurance, it's a travesty on our day and age. Like, just the fact that it costs so much and it takes so much to get it, keep it, and maintain it. I mean, I totally agree with you on that. So, with that all being said, I'm not jumping down like 10, 12 stairs anymore like I used to. So, there is that. But I totally agree with you. Like, just, it's scary sometimes. So, things looking pretty nice. Stair tricks, yeah, I agree. I appreciate you tuning in very much. I would have to agree with you on the steps, though. I don't jump down them as much as I used to, sadly. I do enjoy the thrill of doing that occasionally, but I pay for it now. So I will say that, and that does suck. But, you know, that's just part of getting old. Like, I'm not going to give it up. I'm still going to skate until I can't do it anymore. So, anyways, we're looking pretty good on this shape. It's looking pretty nice all the way around. I'm pretty well satisfied with what we shaped up. As you can see, there is a bit of a square here on the tail versus the nose. So you'd end up riding this thing probably this way, you know, this way, whatever the case may be. I'm going to refine this shape up just a little bit more, just to make sure it's nice and pretty. I always like to double check and just make sure it's going to look nice for whoever ends up owning this. Okay, a little bit more, and then I'll do my final hand sanding. And again, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything I'm doing, like earlier, somebody was commenting and concerned about me not wearing a mask, and I'm an idiot. I do apologize. I forgot to bring my mask with me. I usually have it with me. I usually throw it in my back pocket, but today I have a tripod part. So that's not going to help me, but you know, so I will be having a mask next time, so I do apologize and thank you. All right, so our last bit of business for today. Now, this thing's looking pretty damn nice. I think this is going to be a pretty great deck. And I would like to also mention, if anybody watching, you want to own this thing, throw a graphic on it of your own particular choosing, talk to me, hit me up, let me know. We can get something going that you prefer. Maybe not so wide or so long. Maybe something a little different. Maybe not a steep. I can do mellows. I can do twins. I can do super steeps, which are just ridiculously concave, and a ridiculous amount of concave. But anyways, I digress. I always got to throw that out there. This is more than just a building show. This is a custom order skateboard supplier and show, if that makes sense. Now, where did I put? I have some 220 usually floating around here somewhere that I do my hand sanding with, but apparently it has run away on me. That's 120. That's not going to help me. So we're just going to grab a fresh sheet that I have laying around. This is the last bit of thing I like to do when I'm doing these decks, is I'll come through here and hit it with a hand sand just to make sure that every part of this deck has been addressed and attended to make sure it's going to be a perfectly smooth, perfectly legit ride for whoever happens to want it. Is this necessary? Probably not, honestly. I could probably not do this and these would be just fine. But honestly, this has saved me before, because there's been times where I come across a little spot like that maybe I forgot to hit it with a sander or something. I got distracted doing something, you know, distracted forgetting my mask or something. So this little extra step right here really does save me sometimes. And it gives me really a chance to kind of take in this shape. And if somebody's, you know, has some questions about it, like, why is it this way and not this way, or why is this like this, I can probably answer it a little bit better. You know, if it just doesn't look right, well, I can say, well, I apologize, that was my bad, because I probably did something bad on it. I don't know. But hopefully that's not the case. That doesn't happen. I always want anybody that gets one of these to be thoroughly satisfied and to preferably come back and get another one. but it's not always necessary, you know. Obviously, you're going to want to try different decks from different places. In any event, I do appreciate you guys joining me and watching me build this particular deck. So those edges look really, really nice. I think we're pretty much good to go here. Make sure I get rid of all the pencil marks that I drew on this thing. I was drawing all over this thing, trying to make sure I got that shape right. But I think we got it. So the back actually does look a little bit different than the front as far as the width. This camber right here, and then this one right here, it's just a little bit different than each other. That's okay though, because like I said, this is meant to be a specific tail, specific nose. So, you know, it'll be a interesting ride for somebody, I think. Yeah, definitely. Hitting a nice little tail slide. Yeah, that's what I keep thinking about. Going and hitting some nice fat lip slides. Yeah, it's going to be nice. Anyways, I get distracted doing this sometimes because I enjoy skating very much. So, of course, I'm going to be thinking about all the tricks that could be done on this thing. But let me take a minute and show you guys this one also. So if you like the wild decks, this one is definitely one of the most wild that I've created. It's got some funky flair to it. It's got a death point right there. Yep, that's the death point. So that thing could be pretty wild. Dangerous, but wild. Then I also have, and I do apologize if you've joined me before, you've already seen these, and I just like showing them off because I think they're super rad. This one here is the brother of that one there. This one's just a little more skatable. This one actually has a functional nose, functional tail. These probably wouldn't end up being as sharp in a production model. I made one about 2 weeks ago, and it ended up being kind of more of a rounded over situation. So it's like more nibs than points. So this is just one of the ones I keep around for a test shape. You can see it's kind of got some veneer issues. It's gotten messed up right there. But that's just the price you pay with making your own decks. Sometimes you have some winners. Sometimes you have some losers. This one, there you go. You can see the bottom. See that? This was a loser. So I ended up making it a shape that I thought was kind of cool. And now it just sits around the warehouse ready to become a new deck for somebody. So anyways, this is the deck that we finished shaping up today. It is 9.5 inches wide at the widest point. At the skinniest point here in the middle, it's about 8.5. Let me double check that because I'm not sure. It's actually 8 and 5/8. So it's just 1/8 of an inch bigger than 8.5. If you're not familiar with tape measures and the like. 9.5, 8.7, 8.65, 6.3, whatever I said. I don't even know anymore. Wheelbase is 14 3/4. Pretty big wheelbase. It's going to have a nice big cruising turn for it. Our nose is right at 7 1/4. So we got right in that butter zone that I was talking about. And our tail, 7 inches wide. So this thing's shaping up pretty well. Overall, 32 and 5/8 long. So that's pretty good shape. This is going to be a nice all-around shape for anybody, really. You can do tricks on this thing just as well as you could just cruise down the street on it. So, might be a little harder to flip a 9.5. But honestly, I don't think it'd be that much. So, I would like to probably end this episode here. I do appreciate you guys joining me for this episode. Let me give you one more look at the deck we created. This is the nose facing you right now. This is the tail. And this deck, honestly, seems like it's got a bit of a twist to it, but it doesn't. I think it's just the lighting. Got so many weird lights going on here. Anyways, this is it. Oh, I just hit that mic all up on there. So thank you for joining me, and join us again next episode where we're going to shape up, who knows, something. Could be fun. Could be good. I don't know. Thank you.